ओम जयति जगति मायां यस्य कायादवस्थे वचन रचनमेकं केवलं चाकलय्य ध्रुवपदमपि यातो यत्कृपातो ध्रुवोऽयं सकलकुशलपात्रं ब्रह्मपुत्रं नतोऽस्मि. Today we are going to reach the climax of Narad Bhakti Sutras. From tomorrow maybe we start the Gauni Bhakti Prakaran. And last time itself we have gone very deep. So the subject matter is very deep today, very deep. And last time's class, some questions were also asked. Necessarily I have to go back, not only because of the questions, but it is to be a continuation of what we heard last time. And so, we go back to the start of this chapter and we find that this Naradiya Bhakti, now this chapter has been named Bhakti Sadhanagi. But it can be in 2-3 sections it has been divided. So first section can be called properly Sadhana for getting Naradiya Bhakti. Sadhana for achieving Naradiya Bhakti. And the next 2 sections is Sadhana of Naradiya Bhakti. Assuming that we have got Naradiya Bhakti now, real Bhakti, we are practicing that and progressing spiritually to reach the goal of life. So that is how you can divide these two. Now in the first section we are told, Tattu Vishaya Tyagat Sangat Tyagat Cha. So we are told that Naradiya Bhakti is so natural according to the very nature of God that it should automatically have come in us. Some questions was asked last time. We are not karma yogis. Why the karma phala and that talk is there? I told on some other occasion in some other class, there is no choice of karma, whether we are karma yogis or bhakti yogis or jnana yogis. Please forget about it. Talking of karma yoga, I will say there is only choice between karma bhogi and karma yogi. We are doing karmas all the time. And if we enjoy the fruits thereof, we are getting bound, karma bhogis. But if we do karma without thinking of the results, if you do karma in a proper way, then that is karma yoga. And who is not doing karma? In the lakshanas of bhakti, we are told, puja dishu anuraga iti parasharya. Puja is not a karma. And helping puja, is it not a karma? Katha dishu iti gargya. Is katha not a karma? Is shravana of katha not a karma? What is the definition of karma? Our consciousness today is that we are subject in this world of objects. The subject-object interaction is called karma. So we are doing karma all the time. Whether we are jnana yogis or bhakti yogis or this or that. And that is why it was told, Satu karma jnana yogebhyo adhikatara, remember. Adhikatara. That means karma, jnana, yoga are all paths of God. This is something more. Yogatmanji, if he is there, in those days he had asked a question that in the Gita we hear that yoga is superior. Today I found that there the word adhikatara is not there. Adhika only is there. Difference, great difference. Yoga is taken there as path to go to God. Now, path to go to God is superior than anything else. Adhika. Remember this. तपस्येभ्यो दिको योगी ज्ञानेभ्यो प्रमतो दिखा कर्मे पश्चात दिको योगी तस्मात् योगी भव अर्जुन. Here in three places the word adhika is used. And we understand now by now that adhika is used for those things which are paths to God. So there, according to context, the meaning of karma, tapasya and jnana were to be taken as non-paths. Jnana can be theoretical knowledge. Karma can be just doing karma. Tapasya is for any reason whatsoever. And yoga is given there as not a particular path, but the path. So, yoga tat prapti upaya. Remember this. Small words make a lot of difference. Here in Narad Bhakti Sutra it is mentioned adhikatara. That means all these three are paths. Bhakti is something more superior. There when it was told adhika, then they were not, other things were not paths. Anyway, now bhakti is so natural according to Narad. Bhakti depends only on the nature of God, not on you and me. Because of our impurity. Suppose we are karma yogis. Do you mean to say we are not bhakti yogis? There is no choice between these four yogas, please remember. Swami Vivekananda said clearly that all these mingle. Karma is no karma yoga unless jnana is mixed in it or bhakti is mixed in it. These four yogas are not completely exclusive or independent of each other. All of them blend into others. So, only in Sanskrit they say, pradhanena tadvadas tadvada or vaisheshyattu tadvadas tadvada. If we see the prominence of something, we give it that name. If we see the prominence of jnana, we call it jnana yoga. If we see prominence of bhakti, we call it bhakti yoga. If we see prominence of karma, we call it karma yoga. But every path mixes with all other paths. Suppose you are a superior jnana yogi. Do you not feel attraction for God? What jnana yoga is that? Is it only intellectual understanding? Can that be yoga? Unless you feel a tremendous attraction for the reality. How you are a jnani? And you are a bhakta. Without knowing what God is. That is what I have been again repeatedly being told. In the last section, jnana and bhakti were compared and they said, Anyonashrayatum iti anne. Unless you know God, to some extent, how will you feel attracted to Him? Here I will discuss one small point. Some people wrongly ask, when we have not seen God, how can we love Him? No more wrong question can be. I'll give examples. Rukmini had never seen Shri Krishna. Yet she had heard from the poets about Shri Krishna's qualities, and that is what made her love Him. Not seen. Here, in history also, you know the story of Prithviraj and Jayachand. They were brothers, but Jayachand was feeling jealous and he was an enemy. And Jayachand has a daughter, Sanyogita. She had not seen Prithviraj. And to insult Prithviraj, Jayachand kept an image of Prithviraj on a horse at the gate so that he is gatekeeper. And he had not invited him. The Sanyogita went and put garland in that statue. Seeing is not necessary. Hearing is the main thing. If we hear from the scriptures, if we hear from men of realization about God, it proves an attraction in our life. We have seen God, but we are feeling attraction. And it's the very nature of God, self-centripetence I told you. God is continuously pulling us towards Himself, continuously. The moment we are pure, to some extent, we feel that pull. But what are the obstructions? So Narada says sadhana only means removing the obstructions. And so he said, Tattu Vishaya Tyagat Sangat Tyagat Cha. Give up the objects of enjoyment, no mercy. Give up the attachment to objects of enjoyment, then the bhakti will come to you. And then don't limit how much I will think of God. You can think, feel, act, whatever you want to do, you do for God. So don't circumscribe. Avyavritta bhajana, the bhajan, anything done out of devotion is called bhajan. And so you don't limit your bhajan. But there are secular activities. Lokepi Bhagavad Guna Shravana Kirtana. And then he said, Mukhya Tastu Mahat Kripaya Eva. The chief means is to, through the grace of Mahapurushas. And then, Tadeva Sadhyatam, Tadeva Sadhyatam. Seek the grace of a Mahapurush. In between, he had said, Labhyate api tat kripaya eva, tasmin tajjane bheda bhava. You will get a Mahapurush by God's grace. There is no difference between God and His people. Now, these are the means of bhakti. And supposing we have got these means, then that means we have fallen in the flow of Naradiya Bhakti. We have fallen in the flow of real Bhakti. Then what happens to us? That was the last class. And Narada poetically put it, Kastarati Kastarati Mayam. Because the aim of life is to go beyond deception, deception of the world. The world appears real to us. That is a deception. I'm not explaining Maya in so many words here. Maya is a deception. And we want to cross that deception. That is our goal of life. We want to attain perfection. If we are not deceived, we'll easily attain perfection. So now with the requisites of real bhakti, we have gone into the flow, and what changes occur in us, it is not in our hand. If we are in the flow of bhakti, the changes will occur in us, whether we like it or not. If we are in the flow, flowing in the flow of bhakti, these will be the changes in us. And there, he started by telling that the first two represent all that means. What they were? Kastarati, Kastarati Maya. We are going back to Sutra 46. Kastarati, Kastarati Maya. Who crosses Maya? Who crosses Maya? Yes, Sanghas Tejati. We saw last time that this Sanghas Tejati includes Vishayas Tejati, Sanghas Tejati, Avyavritta Bhajanat, Lokepi Bhagavad Guna Shravana Kirtanat are all included in Sanghas Tejati. If you are not attached to anything of this world, automatically you are not claiming your bhakti. Automatically in your Laukika karyas also you are remembering God. So all these were given as sadhana bhakti are all included in Sanghas Tejati. And then last was Mukhyatastu Mahat Kripaya. So in this 46, Yo Mahanubhavam Sevate. One who takes resort to Mahapurushas, one who gets the association of Mahapurushas. So all the requisites of Narad Bhakti are included in these two. Then the journey starts. Nirmamo Bhavati. Asakti Tyag was given previously. Sanghas Tejati. Asakti comes from the fact that this is mine, this is mine. Body is mine, mind is mine, Indriyas are mine. And if the body is mine, then father is mine, mother is mine, wife is mine, husband is mine, children are mine, brother is mine. If mind is mine, then my friends are mine. So, attachment is given up, but the root of attachment is mine. What mine is allowed? Mine is God. Nothing else is mine. Remember. You remember? Nothing of this world is mine. Some examples can be given. So many examples are there. If you read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you will get hundreds of examples. One guru is asking the disciple, come with me. He says, my wife loves me so much. My mother loves me so much. All of them love me so much. How can I leave them? Then the guru gave him some medicine which will make him appear dead. He will know everything. Inside consciousness will be there. But appearance will be like dead. And so the man is like that. Then the guru visits his house. And they all are crying and weeping. And then he says, I have a medicine. But there is a condition. Somebody has to take this medicine first and he will die. And then I give this medicine to this person, he will live. That is my medicine. And so many people are loving him. So I think easily I will get somebody to die. Nobody is ready to die. The mother says, if I go away, who will look after my other children? The wife says, he has gone. Now I have to look after my house. Who will look after my house if I go away? So everybody is feeling like that. The disciple is listening inside. So he quits everybody and goes with the guru. That is the story. He understands nobody is loving him. In this matter, I will tell you another thing. Swami Vivekananda as Narendra passed through very, very hard days when his father died. And in those days, he is exclaiming, nobody except Sri Ramakrishna loved me, even not my mother and brother. Everybody in the world appears to love, they're selfish. The only person who loved me was Sri Ramakrishna, and he had full faith in me. So that is how God is pulling us. So nobody is mine. You have to understand this. Another story is there. Similar, there the Guru gives him some medicine. Now he's sitting in meditation or like that, and he has died, apparently. Now he cannot be taken out of the door because he is sitting in a different posture. Then the people say, let us cut the door, then we can take him out. The wife says, now he has gone. If you cut the door, who will repair it for me? Why not cut him when he has died? Then that disciple leaves the house and goes with the Guru. There is the story. So you have to realize this. Understood? We are going to the depths of Naradi Bhakti, in a way merciless, in a way very sweet. So you have to give up the idea that so and so thing is mine. Then you proceed, you go into depth. You weak the sanam sevate. Automatically the habit becomes to go to secluded places. To go to, in your own house you find secluded place. If you don't mix with people, you are secluded. So the habit becomes to be with God only. Vikta sanam sevate. Even loka bandham unmolayati. That refers to the 14th Sutra, Lokopita Avadeva. How far we observe the social rules, how far we observe the social behavior. And the reply was given, so far as you have not entered into bhakti, entered into the flow of bhakti. And here that point is raised and gone. When he is going deep into love of God, he uproots all these social things and throws away. Last time, I gave some examples, but one beautiful example I will give you. All of you, whether India or foreign, must have heard about Mirabai. And Mirabai was a queen. And the complaint of the emperor was two things. Her guru had told her to mix with sadhus. Now, in the eyes of the king, sadhus are all vagabonds, low people. Why are you mixing them? You are a queen. And the second was, all the time she is doing bhajan. Why are you doing that? Why you are not attending queen's duties? So there are several songs, but one song says, मैं तो गिरिधर आगे नाचूंगी. I'll go and dance in front of my beloved. लोक लाज कुल की मर्यादा या में एक न राखूं. The shame, lajja, or the contraction which one feels due to people and the honor of my family, I will not keep any one of them. लोक लाज कुल की मर्यादा या में एक न राखूं. मैं गिरिधर आगे नाचूंगी. So all these social things are uprooted. Several songs of Mirabai tell us that. One person advises her, when the king is so cross with you, why don't you obey him? He says, राणा रूठे नगरी राखे, हरि रूठे मैं कहाँ जाना? The king is angry, he will ask me to quit his capital or keep his kingdom. If God is angry, where shall I go? The whole world belongs to God. राणा रूठे नगरी राखे, he will keep his kingdom. हरि रूठे मैं कहाँ जाना? That is love. That is real bhakti. And so, lokabandham unmulayati. Then, nisray gunya bhavati. We have seen that nisray gunya bhavati means he does not care for the world. Trigunya vishaya veda, nisray gunya bhavarjuna Gita had said. Trigunya vishaya means relative life, life in the world. Life in the world is always sattva, raja, tama, gun. And so one who has gone deep into bhakti becomes nisray gunya. That means he does not care for the world, his own life, whether he eats or drinks or if food comes, he eats. If God sends food, he eats. Otherwise, he does not care for the world. For going into the depths of bhakti, it is not social etiquette. In many people's life, bhakti is just a matter of social etiquette. Swamiji said these people seek for comfortable religion. We have everything in our house. We should have the Japanese flower vase also. Like that, so many things we are attending. Let us have a little bhakti also. This is not bhakti. So, nisre gunya bhavati yo yoga kshemam tejati. Yoga kshemam tejati means how I will eat tomorrow, how I will dress, where I shall live. This he does not think. It's for God to care. If he is devoted to God with all his soul and all his heart, it is for God to take care of him. And that day I give you several examples of how God takes care. Kema means protection of what you have. Yoga means getting what you do not have, needs of life. And yoga kshemam tejati. He gives up thinking about what will happen to him tomorrow. Today, after this point. So much deep we have gone. And then comes this point, ya karma phalam tejati. So, the point was raised, we are not karma. Suppose you are whatever you are. Now tell me what you are doing. What you are doing now. You have gone so deep. Are you doing something or not? You are meditating on God, are you not? You are loving God, are you not? You are doing something out of that love. You are reading books. Maybe you are dancing. Maybe you are singing. You are doing something or not for God. Mainly, I would say you are contemplating, you are meditating on God. Is it not? And what is the result of that meditation? Two things may happen. Some experiences you may get, and you may feel joy out of meditation. This karma phalam you are giving up, it's not talk of the ordinary karma. It does not stand anywhere. Even if you are a karma yogi, in such a depth of consciousness, that karma does not stand at all. So the meaning of the words have to be taken according to context. In this context, the only karma you are doing is meditating on God or doing something out of devotion to God. And there is a fruit thereof. Fruit is that you get some spiritual experiences. Fruit is that you get joy out of that meditation. And if you indulge in that, if you feel happy by those experiences, if you feel happy due to joy you are getting, your meditation stops. Your progress stops. Now we are walking on a path and we have gone far away. Then both sides of the road there are beautiful scenery. And if we wait seeing the scenery, we will not proceed. So remember the meaning in such a depth. Karma phalam tejati means he gives up the joy of meditation because he wants to proceed. He does not stop at different experiences. Swami Vivekananda calls all these experiences are milestones on the way to progress. Milestones. They show you are progressing, but you do not want them. You want God. I told you my own story in some context. That if the meditation is successful a little, I get joy. And if I enjoy that joy, meditation breaks. So my Guruji told me, pray to God. I don't want this joy, I want you only. Then I felt I am going deeper and deeper. Then again meditation stopped. He says, pray to God, I don't want this deeper and deeper. I want the deepest. This is karma phalam tejati. Understood now? Next step is karmani sannyasati. How karma one can give up? It is not that yajna karma or this karma or karma for the welfare of the people and all that. You are doing something. You are doing. That is karma. I am the doer. This bodha itself is karma. You breathe, it is karma. You eat, it is karma. Now, how can you stop breathing? How can you stop eating? That lokepi they are described already. You give up your I am the doer. Then all karmas are gone. Here I am the doer in the deepest sense, not ordinary karma. Deepest sense. I am thinking of God only. You are thinking, or God is making you think. You are thinking, or God is pulling you. You are devoted to God, or God is pulling you. So this I breaks. I, the doer, breaks. What I remains then? I, the lover. I, the experiencer. I am experiencing the love of God. I am the doer, goes away. In this depth, that is the meaning of karmani sannyasati. Tato nirdvando. So long as I am the doer is there, you are affected by the duels of the word. Heat and cold, pleasure and pain, respect and disrespect, honor and dishonor. You are affected by this. That is the nature of the world mind. And so long as I am the doer is there, you are affected. We are doing unselfish work. People should say you are doing unselfish work. I described in other context. It is not that they praise you for your good qualities and blame you for your bad. No. It is that they praise you for your good qualities and blame you for your bad. They are not saying you are doing unselfish work. They are 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 saying you are doing unselfish work. For the same thing, people will praise you and people will blame you. That is the nature of the world. I give an example also, I remember. If there is a sadhu who does not talk to people, who does not talk to women especially, then some will say, ideal sadhu, how tyagi. Others will say, what? Society hater? Is a sadhu? Now there is other sadhu who mixes, loves all, he lives with all. Some people will say, nice sadhu. Others is a bhogi, he is a enjoyer. Is he a sadhu? Where will he go? So remember, this is the nature of the world. If there is a praise, you will get the blame. If there is honor, you will get dishonor. If there is heat in the atmosphere, there will be rain, there will be cold. But when the eye, the doer is gone, it does not care. He is not affected at all. Who is affected? Eye. There is a beautiful story on this. In those days of anarchism in India or bomb culture, old days, they want to drive out the Britishers by making bombs, throwing bombs. Some boys came out of that and joined the Ramakrishna Mission as sannyasis. Swami Sardanji was General Secretary. He had to stand guarantee for some of these boys because their name was already in the blacklist of the government and they had to, somebody has to stand a guarantee for them. So with a young sadhu, Sardanji went to the police quarters and they wanted him to sign somewhere in the register. He signed. Coming back, that young sadhu is weeping. Maharaj, for my sake, we were insulted. I said, where was the insult? They asked me to sign. I signed. You are such a big man and they did not offer you a chair also. Then he said, my boy, what is insulted? Mind. My mind is not with me, it is with God. The insult does not reach there. So if you are not the doer, it does not affect you. Bhagavan Buddha wanted to enter a forest. He wanted. People said, don't enter. Angulimal, the dacoit is there. He said, I have nothing, what he will steal? He does not think he must kill the man, chops his fingers, makes a garland, then sees what he has. Buddha entered. Then Angulimal said, I am Angulimal. He said, you are a man, I am also a man. He became a devotee. I am telling another story of Buddha. Somebody was abusing Buddha. And Buddha was keeping quiet. Some other friend tells him, so much abuse he is doing. He said, he is offering me abuse. Suppose I do not accept, then they will remain with him. If I do not take somebody's abuse, then the abuse remains with him. Anyway, so in this way, nirdvando bhavati, then vedanapi sannyasati. Now he does not require the scriptures to guide him. Though in the beginning it was told, Nishya Dhardyat Urdhvam Shastra Rakshana, now that stage is crossed. He does not require the scriptures to guide him. He is now very near God. Kevalam avichinna anuragam labate. Anurag is love for God. Kevalam only. Avichinna unbroken. So now he does not remain. What remains? Love of God only. And that is not broken. It is broken by my and I. Both are gone. So, avichinna anuragam labate. Sadarati sa lokas tarayati. Now this step between avichinna anurag and tarati, this is being expanded in today's topic, five sutras. If the avichinna anurag is there, he has to reach the goal. Na? Nothing has remained in his life. Attraction for God, full of God, avichinna, unbroken, unobstructed. Satarati, he will cross, he crosses. So in this step is expanded now in 5 sutras. That is the last section. What is the name of that sutra? Prema Parakashta. Love reaching its heights. What is this love? Same as that avichinna anurag. This avichinna anurag is called love here. We'll find it later in the 54th sutra, we'll get the word repeated, avichinna. Anyway, so now Narada has to describe this last step of progress. Anirvachaniyam prema swarupam. Prema means this avichinna anurag. He said it is beyond description. This is the way to describe. Understood? If I say something is beyond description, that is a description. You cannot catch it in words, but you can see that. Narada will tell us. So, avichinna anuragam lavati, the prem, and anirvachaniyam prema swarupam, not to be described. The real nature of prema. The real nature of prema, the avichinna anurag, is not something which can be described in words. Mukha swadanavat. Important thing. Mukha means a man has no vani. He is dumb. And he is tasting something. And you ask him, please describe that. Remember, it is different from, sometimes he says, we have no words to describe that. You might not have words, somebody else might have. You might not have proper words, but you might have tried to say, describe. Mukha swadhanavad is different than this. You have no words, you have no vani, how can you describe? Many wonderful things in life, we say we have no words to describe what joy we feel. Or some people say, you are tasting sugar. How is the taste of sugar? Like sugar. We have no other words. You have no other words, but this man has no words. Because to speak by words require sufficient amount of eye consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna has shown in his life. Trying to describe the highest is one used to stop. Impossible things, the impossibility of impossible things have been demonstrated in Sri Ramakrishna. So now there is no I, only love is there. It is like a dumb man tasting something. It is different from poets in so many places. They say it is beyond description, it is beyond that. It is beyond description means there are no words with that. The words are left behind. Words have gone with that I consciousness. Sufficient duality is required for us to speak of God. Sufficient amount of difference is required from God to speak. And that is lost now. Avichinna anuragam lavate. Anirvachaniyam prema swarupam is for this reason. It is like a dumb man tasting something. Then how to understand? How to understand a man in the street also cannot speak of love? Prakashyate kwapi patre. Prakashyate means they shine. The love of God shines. Kwapi means rare. Patre means fit person. In rare fit persons, it shines. He may not speak. We see by his face, he loves God. By his every action, by his non-action, we see love of God. By his face, I said, we see love. So he said it cannot be described by words. It is like the mukha tasting but it does shine in some rare fit persons. Understand? Now, after this he describes now. It's impossible to describe, he has shown, and now he tries his best to describe it. Wonderful by Narada here, wonderful. Gunarahitam. Generally, our love will always be expressed as Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamaguna. Either we are quite balanced, it is that, or we are dynamic, or we are lazy. In this love, all these may appear, none of them may appear. This love of God is not colored by the normal qualities of man. Gunarahitam. Kamana Rahitam. Now this Kamana is not that Kamana. That Kamana in the seventh sutra it was told. Na Kamayamana. This Kamana is something. I want to test God. I don't want to become God. This testing God is a Kamana. Now with that love it does not remain. He is being pulled. Anirvachana Anuragam Lavate Prema is being pulled. He does not stop with any Kamana. The subtlest of Kamana cannot be in him, in this love. Description of the impossible has been described by Narada. Gunarahitam, Kamanarahitam, Pratikshana Vardhamanam. It grows and grows and grows every moment. Is so near God and is being pulled by God, so that pull in his experience is growing every moment. Growing. Avicchinnam. Now the word avichinna has come. Avichinna anurag, same word avichinna has come. It increases moment by moment. It is not obstructed by anything. It is not broken by anything. It is continuous but increases. It increases and not decreases. And then Sukshmataram. If we go beyond the senses, it becomes Sukshma. If you go beyond the mind, it is Sukshmatara. If you go beyond eye consciousness, now this Tara word is very funny. Huh? In Sanskrit, there are 3 degrees. In English, we say positive, comparative, superlative. Good, better, best. Now, better is sometimes more than best. Huh? I'll give an example. 2 friends of mine working in 2 different sugar factories. There is a sugar factory near Gwalior. Dabra is the place. And their motto is Dabra sugar is sweeter. The other is working in Saharanpur in UP, sugar factory. So they are sitting and telling the glory of their factories. The Saharanpur man says, he says, my sugar, Dabra sugar is sweeter. He says, Saharanpur sugar is the sweetest. He says, maybe, but Dabra sugar is sweeter. You understand now? It may be sweetest, but Dabra sugar is sweeter. So this Tara is used sometimes, it becomes even higher than the superlative. So Sukshma Taram, you cannot measure its Sukshmaness. Anubhava Rupam. But all these abstract words, there is an experience. He is experiencing, there is no doubt about it. The man is experiencing the what to experience, the love. That's all. Then Tat Prapya. This Tat is not Bhakti, huh? Tat means God. Tat means the innermost reality. Now he has got it. What we are told in the beginning, Yan Labdva, Yat Prapya, in the Sutra 4, 5 and 6. So Tat Prapya. Please tell us what happens when he gets God. The culmination has to be told. The taste of pudding is in eating, they say. So he has proceeded like this, Shukshmatara Manohar Rupam, but finally he has reached or not. And if he has reached, what are the signs of that he has reached? Tat prapya Deva avalokayati. He is seeing his reality or God everywhere. Inside, outside, in you and me, in the whole world, he is seeing nothing but God. Tadeva avalokayati. It is not that he is sitting in samadhi and seeing God only. That he does. But when he opens his eyes, he sees God everywhere. He does not see anything but God. Buffalo God, cow God, house God, pot God, everything God. Tadeva avalokayati. Tadeva shrunati. Now, if I go and abuse him, he will say God is speaking. If somebody is singing a song, he will say God is speaking. Birds are chirping, he says God is speaking. That is his experience now. The fulfillment is being shown, tat prapya tadeva avalokayati, tadeva shrunati, tadeva bhashayati. He speaks only of God. In Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you will see this. Master Masha M. Every scene he says, Sri Ramakrishna was talking of God. Now he's talking of various things, but with the purpose of drawing people's attention to God. Na? M says, Sri Ramakrishna talking of God. What else will he talk? Once what happened, Master Masha had come and Sri Ramakrishna asked him to go and talk with Narendra and tell me. Afterwards, Sri Ramakrishna found they are talking with each other. What we are talking about? Then they said, we are talking about these days in school there is no discipline. He said, why are you talking like that? He tells Master Masha, you are senior, you should have stopped it. Don't talk of anything but God. So, this man has now reached culmination. Whatever he talks is only about God. The only purpose of his talking is to draw people to God. So he is talking like that. In his every talk, you will see God is there. Deva Chintayati, that is what he is thinking. Now the simile, I will tell Sri Ramakrishna's simile. And karma, bhakti and all that will be told there. Huh? We start with the concept of God. Conceptual knowledge. In Vedanta, it is called dharana. It is not Patanjali's Deshabandha Chittasya dharana. Dharana means concept of God. From there, the thing starts. Now, this concept, conceiving, you have heard it used in some other place? No. A woman conceives a child. And Sri Ramakrishna has equated these two. I'll tell a joke first. Huh? Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister of England. And one of his ministers was to speak, Churchill to preside. Now that minister says, I conceive, and is not able to proceed further. Again he says, I conceive. Thrice says, I conceive. Then Churchill says, my friend has conceived thrice but not delivered even once. Now, the man conceives. Ramakrishna says, now in the past days, these days are different now. When a woman conceives in her womb, the mother-in-law reduces her work. That is Sri Ramakrishna's description. And when she reaches almost delivery time, all works are stopped. And after delivery, her only work is to be with the child. This is what happens now. So karmas are getting I am the doer is getting reduced. So external works are getting reduced. And when the time of delivery comes, stop. So karmani sannyasati. Karma phalam tijati, karmani sannyasati. And the delivery has taken place. He is seeing God. Then he says God only. In his talk, in his hearing, in his seeing, in his with other people, everything is God only. So this Tadeva Avalokati, Tadeva Shrunati is equivalent to the woman giving birth and being only with the child all the time. That is the reason. This is the glorious culmination of Narada Bhakti Yasha. Now he does not have to talk about that bhakti anymore. He will talk again and again. But in the beginning he had told Satu Asmin Parama Prema Rupa that you remove all your ideas of bhakti. They are not correct bhakti. Listen to me. That is over now. We made it into two chapters because one was the nature of bhakti, the other was sadhana of bhakti. But same bhakti. And now what is remaining? He does not throw overboard our bhaktis. Everybody else has some bhakti. So Narada calls all our bhaktis as Gauni bhaktis. Gauni means normal translation of Guna is secondary. But what is Guna? Marks. Marks. If this real bhakti has 100 marks, then there will be some bhakti with 60 marks or 40 marks or 10 marks. That means we have, our attitude has some things common with the real bhakti. But there are many other things. This is called Gauni bhakti. Understood? It is not real bhakti, but it is not bhakti. It is bhakti in the sense it is similar to bhakti. Several qualities of bhakti are there, but not all the qualities. And some other things are mixed with it. This is called Gauni bhakti. And this all of us do possess. Even the most dry person possesses this. And how? From this point we are going to Narada Bhakti and get God. That is the next topic. So the next topic is, up till now Narada told, keep that aside, listen to me. And he has given us in full detail the nature of bhakti comparatively. Tadarpita Akhilacharata, Tadvismarane Paramayakulata, and the sadhana of bhakti, how man reaches God through that bhakti, everything is done. Now he says, bring your bhaktis. I will tell you the value of each bhakti. I will tell you how from there you will reach the real bhakti. That is the next topic from Sutra 56. So in a way, second part. Though we are divided in 3 chapters, but half or Purvartha is gone. Now the second part. Lastly, there will be a small appendix, 3 sutras. So, how many? 55 we have done, 81. That means 36. 26. Yes. 26 sutras in the Gauni Bhakti. That also has been divided into 3 sections. We'll see that as it comes. Okay? Thank you for bearing with me this wonderful Narada Bhakti. Om Jayati Jagati Maya Yasya Kaya Dhavaste Vachana Rachana Mekam Kevalam Chaha Kalaya Dhruvapadamapi Yato Yakrupato Dhruvoyam Sakala Kushala Patram Brahmaputram Natosmi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.